Hey there, let's talk about your body's engine, your metabolism. Now that's a word we hear all the time, right? Fast metabolism, slow metabolism. But what is it actually doing? Well, today we're gonna pop the hood and see exactly how your body turns that breakfast you had into actual usable fuel. Let's dive in.
You know the feeling. It's maybe the most frustrating question out there. How can some people just seem to get away with eating anything they want? The answer, you guessed it, has everything to do with their metabolism. And I promise, by the time we're done here, you'll finally get how that all works.
So, here's the game plan. We're going to start with the absolute basics. Then, we'll look at the 3 different energy engines your body uses. From there, we'll zoom way in to see the tiny power plants inside your cells, then zoom right back out to figure out your daily energy budget. We'll cover what controls your metabolic rate, and then we'll bust some of the biggest myths you've ever heard.
All right, first things first, let's just cut through all the confusing science speak and get a really simple, crystal clear idea of what metabolism even is.
That's really it. You know, at its heart, your metabolism is just this giant ongoing process that turns everything you eat and drink into the energy your body needs to, well, live. We're talking about everything from your heart beating, to your brain thinking, to your legs moving. It's the engine of life.
And this engine has 2 main jobs. Think of your metabolism like a construction site. You've got catabolism, that's the demolition crew. It smashes down the food you eat into simple, raw building materials. And then you have anabolism. That's the construction crew. It takes all those raw materials and uses them to build up new things, like muscle, bone, and new cells. So one side breaks down and the other side builds up. Simple as that.
Okay, so how does your body actually spend all this energy it's making from food? It uses a special little molecule called ATP. Now, the best way to think about ATP is as the energy currency of your body. It's like a tiny rechargeable battery. Every single time one of your cells needs to do something, like flex a muscle, it pays for it with an ATP molecule. So your metabolism's main gig, it's to keep making and recharging these little batteries 24/7.
So how does your body make these ATP energy batteries? Well, what's cool is that it doesn't just have one way of doing it. It actually has 3 totally different engines it can fire up depending on what you're asking it to do. And here they are. First up, you've got the rocket booster. This is for pure explosive power that lasts just a few seconds. Think lifting a heavy box or an all-out sprint for the bus. Then you have the sprint system. This one kicks in for intense stuff that lasts for, say, up to a couple of minutes. And finally, you've got the marathon engine. This is your slow and steady, super efficient system that powers you through your entire day.
And this chart really shows you the trade-off. The rocket booster gives you this incredible burst of power, but it burns out in seconds. The sprint system gets you a bit further, but it's also got a time limit. And then there's the marathon engine. It might be slower to get going, but man, is it efficient. It can keep you chugging along for hours. Your body is constantly and brilliantly shifting between these 3 gears all day long.
Now, let's zoom in on that marathon engine, because honestly, it's the one doing most of the heavy lifting to keep you going all day. The real magic here happens inside these tiny little structures deep inside your cells.
I want you to meet your mitochondria. You have trillions, literally trillions of these in your body, and you can think of them as your own personal power plants. They're the absolute heart of your aerobic metabolism, the kind that uses oxygen to create energy. So, what's going on inside these little power plants? Well, they take the fuel from the carbs and fats you ate, they mix it with the oxygen you're breathing right now, and boom! Through a whole series of amazing chemical reactions, they churn out huge amounts of those ATP energy batteries. This is the engine that's powering you through a long walk, a bike ride, or even just getting through a long day at work. They're your endurance engines.
Okay, so we've been down at the microscopic level. Now let's zoom all the way back out and see how this adds up to the total number of calories you burn every single day. The best way to think about this is like a daily energy budget. So, the foundation of this budget, the biggest expense, is your basal metabolic rate, or BMR for short. This is the rock-bottom baseline energy cost just for you to be alive. Seriously, if you just laid in bed all day and did absolutely nothing, your BMR is the energy your body would burn just to keep the lights on. You know, keeping your heart pumping, your brain firing, and your body warm. And here's the part that really blows most people's minds. Take a look at this chart. Your BMR, the energy you burn just by existing, is the biggest piece of the pie by far. For most of us, that's like 60 to 70% of all the calories we burn in a day. The rest of your energy budget comes from physical activity, and that's everything from walking to the kitchen to running a marathon.
And a little slice, about 10%, is actually used just to digest the food you eat. Isn't that wild?
Okay, so if BMR is such a huge part of our energy budget, what controls it? Can we just turn it up or turn it down? Well, it's not quite a simple switch, but there are several control knobs, if you will, that determine just how fast your metabolic engine is running.
Let's run through these control knobs. Now, some of them, like your age or the genetics you got from your parents, are pretty much out of your hands. But that first one on the list, body composition, that is the one you have some real control over. And it's a big one. Why? Because muscle tissue is metabolically active. It burns way more calories, even when you're just sitting on the couch, than fat tissue does. This means that the more muscle you have, the higher your BMR is, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
All right, now that we've got a solid handle on how this all works, it's time for my favorite part. Let's use what we've learned to smash some of the biggest myths about metabolism and give you some clear things you can actually use.
First up, the old meal frequency myth. You've heard this a million times, right? Eat little and often to stoke the metabolic fire. The truth is, while your body does use a little bit of energy to digest food, splitting your daily calories into 6 small meals versus 3 bigger ones has almost no effect on your total 24-hour energy burn. What really truly matters is the total amount you eat in a day and where those calories are coming from.
Now, this is a huge fear for so many people, the idea that dieting will break your metabolism forever. Here's the deal. When you lose weight, your metabolism does adapt. It's smart. Your body gets more efficient and learns to run on fewer calories. But the key thing to understand is that this is not permanent damage. It's a normal, intelligent response from your body trying to be efficient. It's not a sign that anything is broken.
Oh man, this is a classic. For decades, we all blamed lactic acid for that day after the gym pain. But the latest science shows us something amazing. Lactate isn't a bad guy. It's actually a super valuable, high-octane fuel that your body creates and uses during tough workouts. So that soreness you feel, that's just the result of tiny, microscopic tears in your muscle fibers as they repair and get stronger. It's a sign of progress.
So after all of that, what's the bottom line? What are the big things to remember? It really boils down to this. Number 1, build or at least maintain your muscle with some kind of resistance training. It is the most powerful tool you have to influence your resting metabolism. Number 2, eat enough protein. It helps build that muscle, and it also has the nice side effect of helping you feel fuller. And 3, just move your body in ways that you actually enjoy to bump up that physical activity slice of your daily energy pie. So if there's one thing I want you to walk away with, it's this. Your metabolism isn't broken, and it's definitely not a simple on-off switch for fast or slow. It's this incredibly complex, dynamic system that's constantly adapting and responding to how you eat, how you move, and what your body is made of. It's always changing. In the end, your metabolism tells a story. It's the story of how your body creates and uses energy, written every single day by your choices and your unique biology. And now that you understand the basics, you have the power to help write a better, healthier chapter for yourself. So what story is yours telling?